Basically, this was the end of today, which is 28th June 2025. Finished some work at the workshop, including work on this car, which is basically related. Okay, so now let's talk about something I know I've observed, and that's always in people's mind, especially Nigerians. So it's about CNG. Um, there was this 307 with EW10J for engine, 2.0 liter petrol engine, station wagon. So I saw the owner of the car, and the bonnet was open. He was standing beside the bonnet, the engine bay, I meant. So I came, I saw that he did a conversion of petrol to CNG. Because petrol engine was still there anyway. So I was okay. This is not the first 307 I've seen with such conversion, but you know, at least the first with 2.0 liter engine. So I was like, since you are the owner, I know the person, but not like personally, but I just know the person. So what's the experience so far with this CNG? He said, fine. I said, any downside? He said, no, that he can think of. Doesn't have any downside. I said, okay, fine. So, and I know not long ago, someone that drives a Toyota, what's the name of this Toyota car? Anyway, this Toyota, after Camry, the next Toyota sedan. I'm trying to remember this car. So that's the car I'm talking about. That next big sedan vehicle after Camry. So he came, he said, because he knows that I'm into cars and I do repairs as well. So we went to seek an advice whether to go ahead and install CNG. So I told him, see, I'm not necessarily vast on that particular system. My knowledge on CNG conversion is limited. However, I do know one thing, that I know a lot of people have installed it. What I mean, a lot of people, I know, what point is, I've seen a lot of cars, Peugeot and otherwise, with that CNG conversion here in Nigeria. So maybe it's serving them well, maybe not. The only thing I know, I personally have not worked on any car with that conversion. So I can't say for a fact, based on experience gathered repairing such vehicle with CNG, whether there's any issue the CNG introduced on those vehicles, which I may probably repaired or discovered during the repair. So I recommended to him somebody else I know that installed the CNG to go and ask the person. Because for me, I would rather you ask someone who uses it than, someone who probably have only basic knowledge on that. But I told him the little I know. So this is what I told him, so which I want to share. I've done videos on this many times. Downside of CNG conversion, I'm not talking about factory CNG vehicle, the vehicles they produced from factory to that have CNG. I'm talking of those ones converted from diesel to CNG. One of the downsides is the engine runs hotter than it should. CNG makes engine to run very hot than petrol engines. That what I mean is, the engine that runs only with petrol, CNG will make it to run much hotter. So if your cooling system has a problem or cannot handle the how do I put this thing? CNG might make it, okay, let me put it in a different way. If you convert your petrol engine to CNG, you will most likely be having issue with, number one, your spark plug will be failing more frequently, and your engine valves, the exhaust valves, most likely, or even the intake valve, just call it your engine valves, will be failing. You will most likely be replacing them every now and then. It may not be constantly, but once in a while they will fail. They run hotter. That's why CNG will make your engine much shorter, and it affects your engine valves. So you now have to remove your cylinder head and change the valves. It's as simple as that. Because these valves that are made for standard petrol engine, they are not, they don't work well, or they're not designed to work with CNG. So by the time you start running CNG on them, most likely it damages them. There are people that have had that issue. One thing I will tell you is, I know parts sellers, Peugeot parts sellers, that said people that converted their Peugeot car to CNG have been buying frequently ignition coil and the spark plug. These are the two things they mentioned. That it wears out their spark plug and ignition coil constantly. I couldn't tell how that will affect the ignition coil, but they said their spark plugs, every now and then they are constantly changing them. And it makes sense. Remember, it is the combustion chamber that runs hotter than the normal temperature they're supposed to run. So in that case, yeah, it probably will be burning the coil, or no, the spark plug, maybe with the ignition coil, who knows. One way or the other, maybe affects them. So it has a downside. Anybody telling you doesn't have a downside, it's not being honest. Now, people have asked, like the man I asked with 307 with 2.0 liter engine, so it's possible that truly he hasn't experienced anything. I know the man, I know the last time I saw him before this, the one I saw him last, right, but before then, the engine didn't have CNG. So I know he installed the CNG recently, at least sometime this year. So I don't know if he has used the car enough for him to start getting a negative experience from CNG. What I mean negative means everything you see has a negative side. So that's my point. So no matter how good petrol engine is, it has a downside. So likewise, no matter how good CNG is, it has a downside. Those are some people, some people, when you ask them, what's the issue? Is there any issue with Toyota Corolla? I say, no, it's a perfect car, no problem. In fact, come on, stop lying. Don't tell me there's a car produced in this world that doesn't have an issue. That's a typical lie. So it's not that sometimes people are so ignorant, or they just want to live in denial. Just that so that they don't paint the picture that they made the wrong decision, or that something is wrong with what they have. I don't know. Me, I don't do that, because I will tell you, everything has a positive and negative. So if you want, I'll tell you the negative. But me, I focus more on the positive, because that's what that attracted me most to the vehicle, or whatever that thing is. So, but some people don't want to mention. So, but now you can research more. The only time I will recommend, I will say, okay, the downside won't be that much or pronounced is if you buy a factory produced vehicle with CNG, because in that case they will factor in the valve that will work better with CNG. The engine operating system will do it such a way that the engine cooling system will be able to work, cool the engine better than when it has only petrol engine. So that's the point. Or petrol, using only petrol. So it's like saying a 4-cylinder engine will have the same cooling system with a 6-cylinder engine. It makes no sense, because 6-cylinder engine may run hotter than the 4-cylinder, or a forced induction engine may run hotter than 4-cylinder engine, or 1.2 liter engine will run cooler than 1.6 liter. So it all meaning you have to design in such a way that both will still run at the same optimal temperature. But then maybe the V6 will have a bigger radiator, so that you'll be able to maintain that 80 to 110 degrees Celsius, while the 4-cylinder will still maintain the same temperature, but maybe with a smaller radiator. So these are the things I'm pointing out. So they will design the system to be able to maintain the temperature they want, good for the engine, which could be the same with all engines in a particular model of car. So so that's what I'm saying. When you buy a factory made vehicle with CNG, then you don't think we have issue with some of these things I pointed out, because they will use a different part to make it work. But when you are doing conversion, the conversion they do is just only for what is being introduced on the engine, not inside the engine. I don't see anybody in Nigeria opening up engine when they are converting their cars to CNG, to change the valves, to change the radiator, to change the fan, to put this. They only introduce the CNG component, and that's all. And I hope it serves you well. So these are the things. So I'm not discouraging anybody from CNG. Like I said, who knows? Maybe eventually all of us will switch to CNG in Nigeria. But for me, I'm okay with petrol for now. Only petrol. So all I will add more is, if you are having issue with whether to do it or not, you have to factor out the cost of the installation and then the cost of running only fuel. For example, right now, the standard price of installing CNG in Nigeria, that's high quality conversion, will cost you almost ₦1 million, 1 million naira. It might even be more depending on number of your cylinder, the cylinders on your engine. So I don't know for a fact. I know if you are talking about V6, yeah, you are looking at close to ₦1 million or more. These days, things increase, prices increase beyond expectation. So you can't even tell the price of yesterday will be the same price today. So let's just say it costs you ₦1 million to do this conversion. Then do the calculation. On average, every week, how much you spend weekly? Then let's assume it's 25,000 every week. I know some people spend more than that weekly. But you spend, or maybe on average, 25,000 to fuel your car from Monday to Sunday. So do the calculate with number of weeks in a year, which is 52 weeks in a year, if I'm not mistaken. So now times it with 52 times 25,000. You're thinking about maybe 1.3, if I'm not mistaken, 1.3 million naira. So that's, if you do not do that conversion of CNG, you spend 1.3 million naira in a year to fuel your car, only petrol. But if you spend 1 million naira to do the conversion, you still spend, because you see CNG means you still use it with petrol, it's not only CNG. So so when will you be able to recover that 1 million you spent in doing the conversion? Maybe you recover it in a year or two, or less than a year. So it all depends on how much you spend weekly or monthly or annually. You will know whether it makes sense to spend up to ₦1 million for that conversion, including the risk involved. For example, you guys know about explosion of some gases and the rest. That's CNG cylinders. So all this, I don't know, man. So unless some claim because the conversions were not done properly, that's why they're exploding. You do your research very well. So everything has a risk. That you also need to, but I don't know how much CNG now costs. So it's not as if that 1 million naira is the only thing you spend on CNG in that year. You still have to be buying it. And it used to be 200 naira. I don't know, it's not a liter, something like that. I don't know how they do their calculations. So how in a year, maybe you spend 500,000 naira on buying the gas. So do the calculation, you spend 1 million already, spend 500,000 naira on gas, or maybe less. So the difference between buying only petrol, is it that much? Maybe you spend up to 50,000 naira every week on fuel. In that case, you say, okay, maybe it makes sense to actually buy CNG. See, do your calculation well. I think that will help you. You may really have a need to get a lower cost fuel for you. You. Me, I'm talking about me. But now, it's not funny, but I'm still okay. And also understand CNG will reduce your engine power. That's what you can do about it. If you like, make argument from wherever to this place. CNG, if you have a V6, it will drop your engine power. If you have a 4-cylinder, whatever it is, your power will drop. the acceleration, the car will no longer be as quick as you used to. That's the price you have to pay. So I'm not saying it's a must that you must have. Of course, you can always switch to petrol and then have your phone, because you have the option to switch to petrol or run with CNG. So anytime you want to have fun, maybe you switch to petrol and have your phone. If you want to drive economical, maybe you switch to CNG. So you have that option for that conversion. So I'm just putting all the options there so that you understand. So I hope this makes sense. So like this video, subscribe to the channel, and when next I have any other thing to add to CNG, I'll do a separate video. So I'll see you in the next video.